Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of What the Health Just Happened, where we talk about all things healthcare, community, business, and life. The goods, the bads, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, and everything in between. Oh my gosh, Trey, we are so fortunate to have on a variety of guests. Way smarter, way funnier, sharing their business, life, expertise, and all things. Today, I'm kind of fired up, Trey. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a good one.
We have the co-founder and COO, fancy terms there, Brandon Cornellier, unless you want to French it up. And then we say Brandon
Cornellier. And
Cornellier.
The first of all, I don't know how you did that so seamlessly. Great start. But we were just discussing this prior to rolling. I've been in a 5-year crisis on how to say my last name.
5 years.
The last 5 years, this has taken over my life almost every day. And now that I've gotten married in the last 3, have I told you this?
No.
In the last 3, I got married 3 years ago now.
Shout out.
Yeah, love my wife, Alyssa. She, right before the wedding, she's like, hey, we've got to figure out if it's Cornelia or Cornellier. My friends are asking, because up until that point, I would kind of accept however anybody said it. Cornellier is definitely cooler. But Cornellier is more Americanized. If you go anywhere outside of the United States, it's Cornellier. So I've been in this.
You ever see the movie Joe Dirt?
Yeah.
Don't try to French it up, boy. Like, it just makes me laugh.
So that's probably what happened to my grandfather.
Moving to the States
60 years ago. Well, they're from Canada, but they started in France.
We are immediately going off the rails, and I apologize. That's my fault.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
No, but this was hilarious off camera when we brought it up.
Conversation off the air. Let's hammer business stuff right off the bat. So NexGen Roofing.
Yeah.
That's your company. Your business partner is not here today. Tim, what's up, buddy?
What up,
Tim?
What does roofing have to do with healthcare? Maybe nothing. Maybe something.
I don't know. Sure. What if you fall off a roof?
I love the business, community, and life component. And you have an incredible story. The how you get back to the community, this stuff matters. So NexGen, NexGen, not NextGen.
Yeah.
Name. Tell me about what's up with the name, man.
Okay. So, we started this. I met my partner, Tim, who's not here. Shout out, Tim.
Shout out.
What's up, dude?
What's up, Tim? We met in college. We went to the University of Florida together. Go Gators.
Oh, go Gators. Okay.
Can't do it.
Sorry. And I'll speak for both of us because we both have such an eerily similar backstory. So both of our dads were actually in roofing. We're from Fort Myers. Tim is Mr. Jacksonville. He's been here his whole life. So, we were buddies in college. We were in the same fraternity. We were neighbors. There's a bunch of shenanigans that happened while we were there.
That we got a lot of reading books.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Early learned to bed. Yep.
We could have been learned doctors.
Yeah.
We decided to be roofers. But we found this commonality that no one else really shared. And what we realized is it was kind of the same thing both of our dads had experienced with, whether it was being mistreated at work and just the entire industry as a whole. It's got a bad stigma, rightfully so in a lot of ways. There's no community involvement. There's really no team empowerment. It's just kind of a mill to get people to
turn and burn.
And while NexGen wasn't the original company, we started a couple different companies. But what is now NexGen was started with that idea in mind, and just to, there's not a lot of competition in the industry when there are so many bad actors out there. So if we did things the right way, albeit there were probably easier ways to go about it, the long term, we believe that it would work. And now both of our dads work with us at NexGen. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
So we used to be an interior remodeling company. My dad moved up probably 5 years ago at this point and got us started in the roofing side of things. Tim's dad has worked for various roofers around town. He joined us and kind of led the sales department. So the NexGen was a play on being the next generation of contractors with them in mind. Like, it's an actual.
That's like Martin Aquatic.
I didn't know this. That's the
history behind the name. Is we're both doing things that our dads did, but in a more sustainable way. The next generation of contractors.
A good story behind a name of a company matters. Go ahead, Trey.
So you basically just You guys just leveled up what your fathers were doing in a sense, right? You just
Well, so they had never actually started the company. They had
fair enough.
They had
Okay.
all of the abilities to do so, but different generation, they have a different work ethic, and they were always the doers. Tim and I were not so far out of college, so we had all these study habits. Actually, funny enough, we had already had a business that was doing a bunch of work, but COVID happened, and we all of a sudden had all this time because everything was shut down, that we sat for our contractor's exam. That we had all of this experience, but we hadn't been licensed contractors. So what typically takes people 12 to 18 months to study for this exam, we ended up doing in like 3 months.
You just crammed for it.
Crammed for it with their old study habits, because I told you, we could
What
have
did you
been
study at UF?
business administration. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
What about Tim?
He was this is funny. So he was actually
Criminal justice.
he was a marketing major. You were criminal justice.
That was my original major, but yes.
Tim was a marketing major, which is hilarious because I lead the marketing side of things at NextGen, and I don't think he identifies with the marketing side of things at all. But
Oh my.
yeah, no, we couldn't be happier with over the last, we've been a company in some form for the last 8 years. So
I'm going to save the working with friends culture stuff. Again, like we're talking to a roofing company. Sometimes like, why are you having them on? One, because you're my boy. I want to sit down and talk to you. But the business side, the community aspect, you all do a lot for the community, I would say, right? You're very involved with Northeast Florida.
yeah.
In what capacity? Like I said, do things the right way. It takes longer to succeed, however you define success. But you guys do a lot for Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, I kind of grew up that way. My parents, they get all the praise for that. Shout out mom and dad.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I grew up, they didn't have a lot, but we were always doing something. We were always at church, handing out Thanksgiving meals. It was they always put other people before themselves. And that just kind of got ingrained with me. And Tim's the same exact way. And, going to school, we were super involved. Our fraternity was very involved. We worked Dance Marathon. It's a huge University of Florida organization. So we were really involved with that. And when it was just him and I mean, we were in a room smaller than this, 2 desks next to each other, and we still did quarterly events. Even when we had no revenue, we were like, we're doing something once a quarter. That was 8-9 years ago. And that's just continued. And we always said, as we get bigger, so will our efforts. And
I like that line.
yeah, that's the inverse should never be true. Like, you don't start giving back.
Once I get to this point, once I make
then
X
it'll never
amount of
happen.
dollars, then I can. Yep.
And the coolest thing, and I think Tim would agree with me, is, we've always had that bug to give back. The coolest thing is taking our team or, some of our crews, whoever it may be that's involved with us, and bringing them to an event that we threw or partner with a local organization. And then they, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, I get it. Because not everybody is blessed to have had that exposure of the feeling you get when you give back to someone less fortunate, and being able to provide that. And then now, we've had people, they suggest events that we should do, or an organization that they care about in the community to partner with. And that's been the coolest part. Just seeing like what that feeling actually is, and giving that experience to other people.
Hey, I got to give these guys a shout out because I see y'all every year at FinFest
Oh,
out at the beaches.
Yeah.
And my buddy Nico is the one that puts on the event.
Nico's
I
my
film
boy.
it. Oh, there we go. Look.
Small world.
So yeah.
Shout out Nico.
Yeah, let's go, dude. Hey, quick question. Can you describe like the growth from beginning to where you guys are at and how big y'all are from where you started to now?
Yeah. So we started with 0.
Sure. Totally.
You didn't start with like
Well, it was
gold
2.
chest?
No, yeah. So we slow rolled it. We didn't take any outside investors or anything, which was smart. It was just Tim and I the whole time. We've grown. Now we have 22 full-time admin, whether they're supervisors in the field or,
Nice.
office managers to warehouse managers. We're at around 22. And then our labor force, we have a separate company that does that. And that fluctuates with seasonality. So during the summer, we could have anywhere from 25 to 50 people. In the drier months, usually around winter holidays, we'll still keep around 20, 25. So it's been hard to manage that, but luckily the team that we have,
matters.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trey.
Quick question. So in your particular industry, when are the peak seasons and like when are the ups and the downs?
That was
What's
the
the
next
flow?
thing. Yeah.
What's the
Weather.
flow?
Let's hit weather. Give Joey a mic because he wants to talk about hurricane season. Joey loves talking about weather, but because we're coming up to it, this matters. Like,
Yeah.
hey, listen to this moment.
I mean, well, we're in a really unique and fortunate spot that we have a really great service department. So, for instance, if you get a letter from your insurance carrier that says you need to repair this or you're not getting renewed, or there's a little leak that happened or a shingle flies off, we have a service department that can handle small fixes and repairs, which a lot of companies aren't set up for because you need a lot of volume to sustain a team. We've been fortunate to where in the off season that's great. Also with the development in Jacksonville, commercial roofing has been a huge part of our business. That's something that we've had to spend probably the last 18 to 24 months ramping up the right team, because that's not something, I mean, companies go out of business if they try to do that without setting up the infrastructure. And then our residential department, that is usually the volume is a product of weather. So like I said, insurance companies now are sending out cancellation notices. So we'll get a call like, hey, I need to, get this resolved. My insurance renews in 90 days. Also, we have a lot of B2B relationships with realtors. So if someone's buying a home and we partner with these real estate agents and someone can't get insurance, that'll be an avenue that's not weather related. But I mean, one thunderstorm pops up and that's when you find out that your roof has failed. And that's when we typically will see an uptick.
Before too much in weather, what's your breakdown between commercial and residential, you think? Is it 50-50, 80 residential, 20 commercial? Like,
we probably do 70-30, 70 residential, and that includes our service department as well. 30% commercial, but we anticipate in the next 12 to 18 months that getting more of an even split.
Adjust, which is good.
Yeah, well, a lot of builders right now, they have a bunch of stuff. A lot of things have broken ground, but the roof isn't the first step. Like, it's
the roof doesn't go on first.
The roof doesn't go on first.
Forget the foundation, get the roof up.
Yeah. So, a lot of these projects that we've won have started. We just haven't been called in yet. But
Gotcha. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I mean,
I'm just saying the weather stuff too. We're in Florida.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I would say, we're in this weird pocket. I grew up in Southeast Florida. You were Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
How hurricanes hit, Jacksonville just gets missed and missed and missed, but we still are in Florida. It's summertime, a lot of rain, a lot of storms, hurricane season. Do you prep for that in advance, or are you just like kind of like waiting for, shoot, I said a bad word on the radio.
That's okay.
Here it comes.
Yeah, we have gotten better at preparing. So before, as a smaller company, we're just running and gunning. We're waking up every day, not really understanding where we're going to be the next day. Now we do a little bit more prep work. Yeah, you've been there.
That's how I live my life.
Yeah,
What days-
every day.
Yeah.
It's like an Etch-a-Sketch. Every day is brand new.
My wife hates that, by the way.
Yeah. But we've definitely over the last 2 seasons have gotten much better at preparing. And it's everything from like bulk ordering tarps. That's the first thing that people need to stop it from raining in their house. So before we'd be like, okay, we'll go buy tarps at Home Depot. But
then you're rolling into Home Depot buying all the tarps.
Yeah, well, no, but there'll be $110 for a tarp that we can typically get for $15,
which affects the bottom line. To keep your lights on and pay salaries.
Oh, for sure. And we're not going to pass all of that onto the homeowner, especially. So I'm really empathetic to homeowners that have experienced a large hurricane. Being from Fort Myers, we had Charlie, Katrina. We had so many right in a row in early 2000s. And then Hurricane Ian hit in 2021. And that, like all of my favorite childhood memories, I went back there and Tim and I completely mobilized our entire operation. In hindsight, we probably should have kept some folks here to continue growing this market, but we literally, everybody took off down there. I was tarping 5 to 10 homes a day. Like it was all hands on deck. And seeing those people that had just experienced loss has completely put into perspective like what we're doing. So that's why I have no sympathy for these storm chasers that go and
how much can I gouge and charge?
They'll rush an area and they'll oftentimes go out of business because of financial mismanagement. I don't, seeing somebody being taken advantage of in the most vulnerable state that they've ever experienced is,
Do you go on roofs? Like, are you going up, or are you like, I can't do that because I'm too tall and handsome to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the handsome part keeps me away from getting up there. But I think it was 2 years ago. So to answer your question, I remember being on my first roof when my dad did our roof when I was like 10. So I'd never been shy about it. Have no nerves about heights, but it was around 2 years ago. That's when like things really started to pick up on our roofing side of things. Cause remember we were an interior company before there and like water mitigation. Yep. And that was when roofing was about balance with our interior work. I was like, I got to get up there and I'm going to rock with the boys.
Yeah. I'm going to cut and hammer.
Yeah. Because Tim and I, we've worked really hard. We've built this business, but we deserve no praise because the people that are up there, the men and women that are actually doing the work, those are the people every single day. They blow my mind. And I wanted to get a taste for it because I'm like, if we're going to be doing this, I want to feel what it's like to be up there. I lasted like 4.5 hours. It was in August.
That's pretty good, honestly.
Oh, and that was all I had though. And I'm like, in the morning, like we're doing tear off. It's cool.
Yeah.
We start, hopefully they try to get started before the sun comes up in the summer months. And it was about noon and we're all eating lunch together. Oh, the crews they're always so sweet. One of the guys, their wife brought everybody lunch. So I was in the gang. I got the lunch. I love you guys. Get me out of here. I'm dying. And I ate. And so the whole siesta, I don't know if you've heard about the siestas during construction, like midday, the naps.
Oh,
have you never heard of this?
I have.
It's for real.
House with a buddy.
It's for real.
It's a real thing. And these guys, lights out.
Shout out, dude, to those guys.
Yeah, shout out to the boys and women. We have a couple of women on our crews that are just unbelievable. And they're lights out. And I'm sitting there, I'm closing my eyes trying to nap with them. I'm like, this isn't working. I'm sweating. And I felt
they're all like
real
REM sleep.
Oh yeah. Get back up.
Yeah.
Drink a Gatorade and they're back at it. It's really the most impressive thing ever.
Again, I don't think people get enough acknowledgement, admiration. Where'd you drive from to come to the studio? The beaches?
No, our new office is right off 295.
So new office. Every time I drive on a road, do you understand the manpower and women power it takes to build a road to get from like laying bricks, asphalt, whatever it is? That is a grind. So every human that drives on a road, on a car that someone put together,
by hand,
or your tires that someone changes. Joe, have you ever changed your own oil yourself? I know the answer to that. He didn't know, Mike. He's like, absolutely not.
No, I honestly, I wouldn't know how to. I mean, you go on YouTube.
But it's the same with.
Is it near the gas tank?
Yes, the oil is near the gas tank, Joey. Correct. But again, you commend and respect these people. I don't think they get enough acknowledgement. A roof on a house. You live in a home. You have shelter. You have an air conditioning. That's hard work, dude. So everyone's like, nose up and doesn't respect the world and is not grateful. You got something wrong. That's just
100%. And these guys and girls, when they're up there in the dead heat of summer, we've had to stop jobs because the nail guns are going through the shingles because it's so hot.
Because it's so hot, the temperature.
They're just shooting right through. And
they would keep working.
They would keep going. But yeah, we have a team built around these crews, site supervisors, our production department now. They do everything in their power to let these people know every single day how respected they are, which I think it needs to happen more in the trades. These guys Tim and I we're just the stewards of the business. We're not doing the actual work.
Go ahead.
Kind of a little crazy question, but money, no option.
Yeah.
What's the best kind of roof I could put on my roof? Money, not an option.
So
here in Florida, let's just say Florida.
That's a great question. I mean, if you're taking out any sort of like visual aspects, because people like what they like, you put a standing seam metal roof on a house, that is going to be that's going to probably be the best.
Standing seam.
So, okay. So, like the tin roofs, right?
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
some where you can see the screws.
Sure.
Those are exposed fasteners. The ones where you can't see the screws.
I think of like Key's house. Like if you go to the
Key's
Keys, okay.
Keys
Oh,
house.
okay.
Yeah.
Like the
And
metal.
you can't see the screws because they clip into each other. It's called a standing seam. That is top of the line. That some nerd is probably going to comment and be like, actually,
Yeah.
Well, by the way, it's
Oh.
tile.
I was just about to ask.
So
When it rains, isn't it loud?
I'd never lived in a house with a metal roof, but I live in one now. And that was the thing. I heard you're not going to get any Wi-Fi signal. It's going to be super loud when it rains. Haven't experienced that yet.
Let me tell you what else. I actually love the sound of rain. To me, that sounds like we just replaced our roof a couple years ago.
Wow, thanks.
Did you use
I don't remember
NexGen?
doing that well.
Stop.
I don't
You
remember
didn't,
doing
you didn't
that
use
well.
NexGen?
Oh my gosh. I didn't use Reliant.
NexGen
didn't
when
use
we moved.
I didn't even know these guys. It was March of 2020. Stop. We bought a house insurance. It's like, if you don't replace your roof, then you don't get insurance. Like I went
No
through
due
this.
diligence, nothing.
I'm like, fine, whatever. Whoever, Steph set it up.
Probably used
I
that other
love
roofing
the
company.
sound of rain. I want that. That's like an addition for me. If I'm laying in my house and it rains, and I love that.
a
That's
noise
just me
machine.
personally. Okay.
But it's not bad.
We have definitely crushed NextGen for a bit. The name of the stuff is a lot more business than I thought. I think second half, like we've got to just go off the rails and talk complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Or more business. It's up to you.
No, that's good. I'll do whatever. The one thing, it's not directly business related, but wow, we did go off the rails because I meant to mention this. Like 8 minutes ago. We've done all these things with the community, which I think was the only question you've asked so far. But that's okay. That's okay.
Again,
that's
these
okay.
are my favorite.
Anyway,
we'll
so
hit it no matter what. We'll hit it
we were
again.
making all these efforts to do things for the community. And 2 years ago, we organized the NextGen Foundation to make a more concerted effort to go after the causes that we really care about. So we could talk more about that in the second half, but belligerently.
We got about 2 minutes of commercial break again. We can absolutely hit that. Specific events. I think the new office matters. We're not going to not talk about business. It's
going to be a Joe Rogan
stuff off the air,
style
off the side.
3-hour podcast.
2 minutes here. Any shout outs? People like, man, you mentioned both your dads, you and Tim's. Other people who are like, man, if it wasn't for these people, like Sean Shapiro, I think.
Sean Shapiro is an incredible mentor. Also, Ben Lavarius, another roofing owner. So that's another misconception, is that all these roofing companies hate each other. Everybody,
It's a community.
yeah,
Mostly.
there's a few that we don't get along with, but they did it to
Tell
themselves.
us. I'm kidding. Don't.
I will.
No.
But yeah, Ben Lavarius, he's been just such a great resource for us. Sean Shapiro, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. That's a guy, he could have done anything.
Don't you dare inflate his ego.
He is a dumbass. And I hate
He's
it.
a terrible golfer.
Oh, I love it. No,
I've never seen him golf. But shout outs. I mean, shout out Tim.
Has anybody ever told you that Sean Shapiro and Tim could be brothers? They're like twins.
Really?
They look alike.
seconds,
Dude.
Joe.
They look
Don't go
alike.
off the rails.
I don't
They look
see
alike.
it, but maybe.
We'll do a side-by-side comparison in the second show.
Shout outs. Shout out to you guys. You guys are freaking awesome and killing it, by the way. And this podcast is so much fun. I've listened to episodes with all the people I know. I'll say that. And I know a lot of people.
Someone listen to it besides Mom. I love you, Mom. Look, are you having fun so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
Check. That's what the hell just happened. Welcome back to the second half of What the Health Just Happened. Good news for all of you on the radio station. If you missed the first half, you can catch. That was a loud crack. I hope that's on air. Anyways, you can catch the first half on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube under What the Hell Just Happened. We have co-founder and COO Brandon Cornellier.
Oh,
Did I say it right?
that's the thing. There's no right way.
There's no right.
Corneller.
Cornellier.
It's definitely not that.
Corneller.
That's wrong.
This is going to be probably my favorite
Hey,
24
by the way,
minutes.
is this my handler? Why is he sitting here now?
A surprise co-host, Joey Jansen.
Okay, good. I was like, did I do
Wow.
something wrong?
Wow. First half, we talked about NextGen Roofing, the history of that company, his business partner, a lot of cool stuff, giving back to the community, a lot. Catch it on the first half. It doesn't matter, you just cracked a Guinness. That was super loud.
Yeah, I apologize about that.
I love it. That was loud. I'm going to do the same thing. Healthy or not healthy? Guinness.
Healthy.
Healthy?
Oh, yeah.
Not healthy.
Healthy or not healthy? Bourbon.
Healthy.
Not healthy.
Not healthy.
That's what I'm saying. Who are you asking why? Healthy or not healthy being a Gator fan?
Incredibly healthy. The healthiest.
We're good right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Healthy or not healthy being in a fraternity at the University of Florida?
Oof.
That was not healthy for me.
Good for business.
Yeah. Good for business. Yeah. Healthy.
Healthy? Okay. Healthy or not healthy working with your friends?
Depending on the friend.
You got to pick one. Healthy or not healthy?
Probably. I would say healthy.
Yeah. If you could be real with them, you got to be real though.
Yeah.
I would
What's
say-
the level of friend? Are we talking like boys, or I know him? Because I know him is unhealthy.
We had talked about, a lot of people say don't work with your friends. I think that's terrible advice, but also good advice depending on the friend. I think in your situation, healthy. This situation,
Healthy.
This situation, healthy.
So far.
So far?
Yeah, so far.
Until it's not.
TBD.
Until it's not. Let's see. Are healthy or not healthy being obsessed with new habits?
Ooh. I would say healthy. My wife, depending on the habit.
She would say not healthy.
Yeah, it gets a little much, I think, for her.
I think
It's hard to keep up.
How did you feel about the running?
Well, not healthy.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
say,
I'd have to-
let's save that. Any not healthy or not healthies before that, because I want to talk about habits, hobbies, like you. Any healthy or not healthies? Are we good?
We're good.
That's a good transition. You said this off the air. You have a lot of habits, but when you pick one, you're like all in.
Well, habits and I don't want to conflate habits with hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. It's just so loud.
That was even worse than mine.
Oh, why is
All
it?
right, let's go.
Oh my!
Actually,
Wow.
let me
This
show
is
you
first for the
let me
show.
show you a good.
This is for. This,
Oh yeah. I got.
Oh, shout
got
out.
her on
Hey,
camera.
This is
all right.
on the show.
If this,
Apparently, there's a proper way to
yeah.
pour a Guinness.
Yeah, let's do it.
even says on
You split the
Oh, it tells you.
There's no L on there.
Split the G's, right?
Yeah, so
It-
you literally just do this. Straight up and down, baby.
That doesn't.
And this is how you're supposed to do it. I learned this actually
in too.
in a liquor store. Somebody showed me it. Somebody working showed
Not
me
healthy.
this.
Really?
Yeah.
Was
Who
it
has-
Total Wine?
Who has the
also a beer,
best
too.
Guinness in town?
Best Guinness in town. Shout out to European Street Cafe of the Beaches. Although
That's the one?
it's dependent on the pourer. I just so happen to go every time when the same guy, I believe his name is Nick. Shout out Nick.
Shout out.
And shout out my mate,
Mate,
Nate.
we're saying a lot of mates.
Mate.
Oh, our mate Nate.
Nate.
Our mate Nate. And we were talking about this earlier too. I think that we have to normalize the use of mate as Americans. It's
Agreed.
But wow, okay, healthy or not healthy, saying mate in a British accent as an American.
I don't know, mate. That's all
That's
Australian.
Australian.
This is
Unhealthy.
this could be the most ridiculous.
Canada.
That is gonna be great.
Hey, agree. We talk
Oh,
about
Mike.
this. How do we normalize things in other countries that are just awesome? When Nathan says mate, I just immediately am like, I want to say that and sound.
Well, I
cool,
want to
but-
say it, but it makes you feel good too.
Yeah. We're
Healthy or
mates.
not healthy, wearing glasses inside.
We are absolutely
Yeah,
doing the rest of
everyone
this conversation in glasses.
Feel left out.
These are prescription.
What did you ask originally?
That's his alter ego.
About working with friends.
Oh, working with friends. Yes. What about sitting down and talking with friends?
Healthy for sure.
Let's talk about. Do you have an alter ego?
Nah.
In
nothing.
those glasses, you might.
Do you have a nickname?
Dino.
Dino.
Yeah.
Where's it from?
Well, one of my best friends, Dan. Shout out Dan.
Dan. There's a lot of shout outs.
Yeah, I love Dan. He used to call me Dino Corn Sauce.
Dino corn sauce.
Yeah, last name, couldn't figure that out. He went with corn sauce. It stuck. He started out as Brandinho, and then he was a soccer fan, a Liverpool fan, and they had somebody, Ronaldinho, I guess.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah. So anyway, that doesn't matter.
None
we're
of
talking
it-
about.
But again, these are sometimes my favorite.
What was the first question?
I don't remember. Guinness pour.
It wasn't working with
alter egos,
friends.
nicknames.
Oh, hobbies.
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 How do we get on
Good.
Dino?
Thank you.
Habits are habits. I just.
Oh, no, we're talking about
I had
alter
a
egos.
negative connotation.
No, let's go. Let's rein it in for a kind of. For at
Yeah,
least
we'll do our
60
best.
seconds.
Can't rein it in with those glasses on your face.
Yeah,
Yes, you get all in on hobbies,
Yeah.
right? And your wife, you said it's not healthy for her. Let's talk about running because you
Yeah.
just went to London to run a marathon.
I did.
Raised a lot of money. For the
$18,000 for the Organization of Autism Research. Shout out Brian.
Yeah.
He was my partner.
So, like, how did this start? You were not a runner, and then
No.
you ran I don't run. Let me go run 26.2. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 26.2. I don't know. To be honest, I like the culture of running, and I've always gone to the gym for the last healthy. But I never did any cardio, and I don't have a good answer for how I got into it. But the thing is, I did get into it and just went all in. We decided we wanted to run a marathon.
Who is we? You and who?
Shout out Brian,
You're right.
my
Okay.
boy. We had decided we wanted to run a marathon. He goes big, which you got to go big. He's like, let's do one of the majors. And we partnered up with an Organization for Autism Research. And we got into the London Marathon, which to qualify, you have to run a 250 marathon, which is like a 640 pace or something. Yeah, bad news. So I didn't do that. But it was,
Or
you know,
you raise money, right?
or you can partner with a charity, yeah, and you raise money, and we knocked that out of the park. One thing though that it started as just being like an exercise hobby. One thing that really cemented it for me was the running culture in Jacksonville.
Did you get into the running community, big groups?
There's one out at the
big
beaches,
deal.
a Neptune run crew. There's on any given Friday or Saturday, 700 people that show up.
What?
Stop.
What?
I'm not kidding you. It's shout out Neptune Run Crew.
Yeah,
It is.
It's been a love shout.
It is,
by the way. That's good.
Unbelievable. Tell me plus or minus if I need to go more. I need to go less.
Every
Shout out.
Friday or Saturday, you're telling me Neptune.
Every
Run
Friday
Crew.
at 7 a.m. You can find it on Strava or their Instagram. They have a run meetup, and they are what I mean. It's getting hotter, so people make excuses not
Fair
to do it. But
Yeah.
like leading up to the Donna, which is the big race in town, huge turnout.
Shout out Donna.
Did you run the Donna?
I ran the Donna. Yeah.
The full or half?
What?
The full or half?
Just a half. The London was my first marathon.
And you
But-
had no running background.
Oh, dude, I was smoking cigarettes like 7 years ago. Yeah. Never ran a mile in my life.
Are you a former athlete?
No. I was in the marching band, dude. I'm an artist.
All
He's
right,
in marching
hold on,
bands,
hold on. I have to
ripping
ask,
heaters.
Does that make you an artist?
Whoa,
What'd you play?
I was on the
Kidding.
drum line,
What
dude.
were you like what?
Lead snare, baby.
We're going doom doom
Mm-mm.
doom. Were you there?
No, it was-
I know what you did. I love that. Were you really at
I really,
UF?
no. I was in a fraternity at UF. Those two are mutually exclusive. As far as
Not being the marching band and fraternity.
oh no, I did marching band in high school. It was a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends. Actually, my best friend growing up, who I was in marching band with, is now he's got a master's in percussion. He's a professional musician. He's in a band out of Brooklyn. It's fantastic. Shout out Gooseberry.
More
Dude,
shout out.
Let's go to Brooklyn.
Gooseberry.
Oh,
Gooseberry, they've rocked. They actually just did a couple shows here. They're
the
fantastic.
band. I saw some stuff online about them. Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to be massive. So get on while you can.
get on the train. Can we invest in their stock now?
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't know. We are just all over the place, and I love this.
So back to the hobbies. So my current hobby, now that I've done the marathon,
Moving on.
I'm running
Yep.
for exercise. I'll keep this thing on the rails. Don't you worry. I was telling you earlier that I had a really good story about the connectivity of Jacksonville. We're gonna
Yes,
reel this in. So my newest thing, for no reason, is film photography.
Oh, you did say that.
I bought my wife a film camera. She's an incredible artist. She can basically do anything.
Yep.
And I'm like, she would probably take really good pictures. So I got her this vintage, like 1978 Canon AE1. It was awesome. But we used it a little bit, and now it was just a decoration piece. I saw it and I was like, that's going to be my thing now. So back to why Jacksonville's so amazing. I was talking to Jason Pratt. Shout out Jason Pratt.
I like Jason
Shout out.
Pratt.
He's the
Yep.
man. And
Yep.
so he does all of our marketing. He's
Yep.
a great friend of mine and a genius photographer. Like his marketing chops and his photography are exceptional. So I was like, can you teach me how to use this thing? And he said, I've never shot film before, but I know somebody that has. Now I'm not going to, I got a call this morning from Jason. He was like, hey, I just had breakfast with this guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know him yet and I don't want to blow up his spot, but he's, a professor in film photography he's shot for, all of these magazines, and I told him about you and how you're kind of crazy and obsessive. And he said, like, absolutely, I want to meet this guy. I want to teach him about film photography. And I was like blown away. First of all, I skipped a ton of levels, but second of all, the network here, everybody says, oh, it's the smallest big town. That's an amazing thing.
That nails. That is a great transition. All that stuff. We say the show's about healthcare, community, business, and life. They all overlap. What does roofing have to do with community? What does healthcare? It all overlaps. This town, for me, the reason I love doing this, we get to sit down and meet and talk to people that all overlap. Same thing. When Trey moved back from DC, he came in, did one episode of the show. It's like, let's go.
Yeah.
How do we introduce, meet, talk, all these things? We live in a special community.
Yeah,
So
it's fantastic.
lots of shout outs.
Lots of shout outs. And I meant every one of them. There's probably a bunch I could say. But it was such a beautiful moment. I called my wife. I told my mom shortly thereafter. I was like, this is just you have an idea and there's a resource out there, and there's no need. Like, I do this with working with some of the students that I work with through the Take Stock in Children program, which is a fantastic program if anybody wants to get involved.
What's it called?
It's called Take Stock in Children. It's actually a Goodwill Industries sponsored mentorship program, and they partner up with local schools, and you get a mentee, and it's usually at-risk youth and kids that need help getting through school.
Sounds very awesome.
It's freaking awesome. Yeah. And the kids that I have right now, they have all of these great ideas, and they're, no one, unless somebody's propping them up, especially younger folks, they don't know how accessible information is to make your dreams a reality. That sounded super cheesy, but it's
true. Dude, it's true.
But yeah, but I just had a breakthrough with one of the kids the other day, and living in this city, David Miller, from Brightway, he said the coolest line I've ever heard. I actually stole this line and put it in my under 40 interview, which I did not know they were going to publish and credit it as mine. But he said, Jacksonville is a city of wet cement. He's like, you can go to other cities. You can go to other cities and it's established and it's going to be great. You go to New York, you go to DC, and everything's already done. You can you have to be so involved that you may eventually get to the point where you can lead something. Here, it's not that way at all. And I tell these kids, I'm like, oh, you got an app idea? You have this company idea? It is actually so easy to do.
So a couple things stand out to me. One, you get credit for that line because it was published.
Yeah, I know.
No one else got credit.
Sorry, David.
That's a great line. There is still firm cement. Would you call it firm cement? Right, Jackson?
There's a structure for sure.
But
you can make an impact.
It's not a done canvas. It's not a blank canvas. So anyone at any age can do almost anything they want. And we got a buddy, Rabbit. Shout out for Rabbit. He created a pickleball.
Rabbit.
Well, his name's actually Rabbit.
Look at
like
Aaron.
the Rabbit, like Eminem.
Rabbit, like rabbits.
You never seen 8 Mile?
I've never heard of it.
He's never heard of Eminem.
You're kidding.
Face like what? Oh, sorry. Hey, that line is so good.
You mind if I take one of these hats?
Have you ever heard of
You
it?
just gave me the hat. You're
Can I
gonna
wear
take it back?
Well, everybody's wearing a hat. He took his glasses off.
Of course you can.
I can't try to look through these.
Hey, can we?
I want
Can we go back to community for a second?
Yeah.
Go back to anything.
What's
I
the
want those.
what's the story and the connection behind the elementary school where your first office?
Oh, San Jose Elementary. Yeah, San Jose Elementary is like one of the best places on earth. So like I mentioned earlier, we had started the tag staying on. So it's
for sure. I got mine on.
We had started the NextGen Foundation. We were literally sitting in our conference room and just talking about the different places we were going to partner up with. Well, we were at our old location was 2862 Ballard Oaks Road, which shares a road with San Jose Elementary. Yeah. And I had said, we have never done anything. We've never even inquired about what's going on there. Can we set up a meeting? So somebody did. I met with Principal Gomez and knocked my socks off. First of all, she's like a cartoon character. She is the most excited person of all time. And she is so passionate about the kids. I'm going to screw up all these stats. I wish I would have come prepared, but I will say more than 70% are first generation Americans or refugees.
So English is not the predominant language.
They
at that
speak
school.
like 90 languages.
Yeah.
there.
So Adrian, my wife, was a reading coach there.
Yeah.
Back when she was in the school system, at the beginning of the school year, that school would bring, they'd have parent nights and they'd bring food.
Yeah.
And like serve dinners to get the parents there. They'd have over 200 families come
Yeah.
to participate in these things. And they'd have 6 or 7 different rooms of the different languages that were spoken.
Mhm.
And back then, I don't know if it is now because it's changes a lot with whatever populations around, but Burmese, there's a huge Burmese population from Burma in Jacksonville, in that part of town. They all go to a lot of them go to that school.
Initial office is backed up to this school.
Yeah.
And you say, I want to go meet these people.
Yeah.
You met the principal
That was it.
and you're like, what can I do?
Well,
This speaks volumes of you and Tim, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But we went in and because there's this line about it's not about your net worth, it's about your net impact. And I knew the size we were. I knew what we could do. We can sponsor an event downtown and, you know, get a little logo that's going to go to some big organization, or we can raise $5,000 and give every kid in the school notebooks, or, you know, link up with local organizations. And we linked up with Russell Rowland. They're an engineering firm in town. They donated 150 turkeys. Like families were coming in droves, and the amount, the length at which your dollar goes there is unbelievable. One last story. No. We went for our initial tour. It was me and our office manager at the time, Emily. We went we were like, let's see what we can do around the school. And the one thing that stuck out, and I was like, I'm married to this school now, is they had like an electrical pole and a cone, and there was caution tape stringing them both together. And I was like, what is that? Like, it was in the middle of the field. And she goes, oh, well, we have a big Hispanic population and soccer is their life, and this is one of their goals. And I was like, their goal is caution tape? I was like, this is so sad on so many levels. So we got them, like a month later, we raised money and got them 4 like professional grade goals. And they had, listen to this. You want to talk about the how important it is to these kids, how far your dollar goes? They had every student come out, and then 20 kids gave speeches on what soccer meant to them to our team.
Wow.
Yeah. So every year we do an event there in the summer, right before the kids come back to school. We say, what do you need? We're going to make it happen. And then, so that's why I'm like, nobody cares about this school. They don't have great funding. They're in an area where the taxes don't allow them a lot of the maneuverability that a lot of the other schools get. So we can, as a community partner, come in and make a huge impact. And these kids are unbelievable. So that's why
I have chills. I love these stories. You said something that jumps out to me. Hey, give us $10,000 so that you can put your logo on this flyer, and we can put this in our bucket of nonprofit that is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or you could give someone $10,000 that changes lives, and you can see 100%. It, and you can feel it, and you can hear it. Like that moves so much more than just stroking a check to get your logo on a golf course or a polo or at a golf. I always laugh at golf tournaments. These pro golfers have insurance carriers, payroll companies. Like, go to these schools and buy a soccer goal or net. What do we call it? Goal or a net? Football.
I'll take whatever.
Nate,
it's a goal.
I wish he was here.
What do you need? Like, we don't have enough pencils.
Yeah.
Pencils? How much does it cost for pencils? I don't know. Like, if you gave us $800, we could buy enough pencils for the year. What?
Yeah.
No. I gotta sponsor this golf tournament.
And then if you gave like all teachers, I feel like most teachers have some sort of treasure box for the kids to have. And it's like little trinkets of, if you gave each teacher $200 to buy stuff for treasure box, it'd probably last the entire year.
100%. And these, you know what I love is like these teachers, first of all, teachers are so underpaid as it is, but every one of those teachers at that school would easily forego some of their salary to get better stuff. And they oftentimes provide their own stuff. It's the simplest stuff. We'll have food drives and we'll donate backpacks and just the most minor things.
Stuff that matters.
Yeah.
No.
They don't have uniforms. The kids, they show up from out of the country. They don't have a red polo, you know? They've literally had to they've had to change the dress code so that more kids they don't have as stringent of policies because these kids don't have anything. But anyway, San Jose, that's heaven on earth.
I'm glad we hit.
I'm sorry we went from.
This is the most
that
random
was
second half ever, but that
I've known you've always done those things. I didn't know the reasons behind it. I knew bits and pieces of it. But.
I'll say this more and more often too, because we get called constantly, either for the show or work to sponsor events.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a nonprofit community organization, you can give back in one of three ways. You can give back with money, you can give back with time or attention, right? You can donate, here's my cash, or I can show up and build something, or you can give attention and drive it to that organization. I think money's the least relevant one.
Yeah.
For again, that's my opinion, but
For places like that, it's not. And so that's why this is going to be our third annual workday event. And we just I'm getting ready to go over there and we just walk around and say, what do you want done? And, whether it's they want to do a community garden or they want to paint a mural or they want to do this or that. And we do a checklist, we buy it, and then we get volunteers. So truly the volunteers, the people that are showing up the first year we had our team basically plus or minus a few. Last year we had 75 people. This year we'll probably be well over 100. Just because when people go to these things, they see the impact. They're like, I just planted flowers and it wasn't a big deal, but everybody is losing their minds at how impactful this is. And they film the kids on the first day of school running through the hall. I mean, it's like a movie.
Yep. This is my least favorite part because we're out of time, at least for the radio show. We can chat forever. I do have to acknowledge Trey with those glasses on. What's happening over there?
Dude, you wore 'em for the first.
There's a lot of video of me wearing those. I love those glasses.
Dang, dude. I didn't know. You should have.
Brandon, I hate running out of time. Your business,
it's my time.
Incredible. That's great. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
But what you're doing for the community, I can't finish my sentence with you wearing those, man.
What's wrong? What do you think?
I love them. They're my favorite glasses ever.
Oh, these ones?
Gracious.
No,
yes.
These are prescription.
Yes, 100%.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
If you go back to talking about me in a
Brandon Cornellier.
Oh,
is that one?
Oh, I'm going to call my wife on the way home. I'm going to be like, I have a development. We're sticking to Cornelier. This is what I'm saying. She puts up with me. Shout out Alyssa.
Yes, thank you, wives. Thank you
Shout
all.
out.
Brandon, NextGen! Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's what the hell just happened.